Well, the NDC played the Kwalogo and now they are dancing to the Kwalogo.
With the promises they made, eh?
Of course. when you know that you don't control the price of cocoa in the world market, and you go out there and say, I'll pay you 7,000, 6,500 and the rest, and the cocoa farmer says, that is what you told me, so I want my money. Why should we drag this issue? A promise must be fulfilled. Okay, at the time they were making all the argument, the defense they are putting up today doesn't hold water because at the time when this was making it, they knew very well that Ghana decides cocoa price based on average price per year. Ghana at that time were not using spot price for you to be using spot price to be promising farmers. At that time they were campaigning, they were using spot price. That cocoa is 7,000, is 8,000, when we come, we'll give you this amount. But they forgot that at that time, Ghana was using average price.
Because
average price
means that sales.
Average price means that you compute a year's fluctuation of the price,
exactly.
You put it together and divide by 12, and this is the amount. And we use that to actually negotiate with international buyers.
Right.
And then you use that to come and announce as what? The farm gate price. Do you understand it?
Yeah.
So, at the time that they were making all the promises on the campaign promise, Ghana was not doing a spot sale. So, they cannot use that today to defend themselves that the price was at that place. That's why they made that promise. They knew what it was. They knew that at that price we're not doing spot price. So if cocoa had gone up to even 20,000, it will not benefit the cocoa farmer because at that time we were using forward sales. And therefore once we enter into the agreement with the international buyers and then we come to announce on October 1 that this is the price for cocoa, that is it.
Based on the average per year.
We have signed a contract with the international buyers after determining that price. So if after determining that price, even cocoa price goes to even 50,000, the farmer is not going to benefit because we have sold the cocoa ahead of time. And we have signed agreement with international buyers that this is how much we want to sell our cocoa to you based on factors A, B, C, D. And we go and sit with the international buyer and do a negotiation and agree on the price. So if after that negotiation and the price is agreed and it's announced, and that there are increases in the price of cocoa, it doesn't affect the cocoa farmer. Same way, if the price is announced and there's a drop in the price of the cocoa farmer, it doesn't affect the cocoa man. So it was a risk mitigation approach. So if at the time when this was campaigning, they were using the increase in price and saying that because of the price you get it, they knew very well that that was not possible because of the arrangement that was being applied. But because of politics, they made it that it was possible when you knew that forward sales, locking in the sales ahead of time doesn't permit that. But you use it for politics. And now you come and the farmer said, this is what you promised me. Why are you paying me less? You say, why is there people complaining? You see, let's be factual with people. Now you have come, you said you want to give the farmer the best, right? They told the president to go and say that there was going to be a huge price increase in cocoa. So even if you don't have a cocoa farm, go and look for land and farm. Who told the president to go and say that? Who told the president to go and say that? Because when at the end of the day they announced the price, it was just 100 cedis that was added. After the president had made that announcement, who even told the president to go and say that cocoa farmers are going to get a huge increase? Who forced them? It is their own appointees who told the president to go and say that. So you see, when we are dealing with commodities, we should first of all be reminded that we don't have control over how the pricing is done. People sit in the market, the buyers decide that based on A, B, C, D, we think that this should be the price of cocoa. And we go out there and make our argument and say, oh, we also think that because of A, B, C, D, this should be the price of cocoa under forward sales. But when it comes to spot sale, that's what the market determines. And if you want to apply spot sale, you should know that then there's no longer a risk mitigation for the farmer. That means that when the price goes up to 10,000, the farmer will get whatever. But when it comes to 2,000, then the farmer should also suffer. If that is the new approach the government is applying, let the farmer understand. Okay? Because if you go and promise, you promise fixed figures. You didn't promise that, oh, when we come, okay, we are going to do spot sales. And these are the risk inherent. As we speak, cocoa is just a little over 3,000. Okay? Does it mean that if cocoa gets to $1,000 per ton by 1st October that the NDC will announce the new cocoa price? It means that the cocoa farmers' earnings is going to slash significantly. If that is the case, they should be telling the farmer now.
That's if they are doing spot sales.
Yes, that if we have adopted spot sales, so you are going to take the risk So the 70% we have given you, if the cocoa price go to $1,000, we are giving you only 70% of that amount. So that the farmer will be clear in his or her mind that, okay, the arrangement of forward sales to the last government is over. Now the new government is saying it's going to be spot sales. But if it's also going to be spot sales, then they should let the farmer know that if today the LBC comes to your office to come and buy cocoa, check the world price of cocoa.
Right.
And then let the LBC pay you 70%. There will no longer be any farm gate price. There will no longer be any fixed price for cocoa per bag. It will be dependent on the world market price. So if yesterday the world market price was 2,000, when the buyer comes, check the world market price, let the buyer give you 70%
of the 2,000.
If it is 10,000 tomorrow and the buyer comes to buy, let the buyer give you 70% of the same amount, so that there will no longer be any farm gate price.
So it looks like we're changing the trading formula.
Exactly, just like we have done to fuel. Okay, NPA used to control the pricing. At one point we say no, we are doing full deregulation. So no government subsidy. So now no risk mitigation, because subsidy was a risk mitigation. So we say no longer risk mitigation. So now we want to pay the full cost of the price. So
I think that we've put some price floor there.
Even with that, the past 3 days, people were complaining that from 9.22, the following day they saw that it has changed to 10 point something. The following day it has changed to 11 point something. And they are like, what is happening? That is called a deregulated regime. There's no longer fixed price. Every day price can change, and whoever is buying must pay the change in price. So if that is what the new government wants to do, they must make it clear to the farmer. But they shouldn't confuse the farmer to think that there is some fixed price, a farm gate price, as if they are still doing what we call the forward sales. And then when the price goes down there, then you want the farmer to take the... I think that there has to be a whole proper communication about it, because the farmer is used to an old system of forward sales, risk mitigation, fixed farm gate price.
And if you're doing forward sales, then you should be able to absorb the shocks.
And that is where I'm coming to. So you see, the reason that this price is a rip-off of the cocoa farmer is that, you see...
You think it's a rip-off?
A total rip-off, because COCOBOD doesn't grow cocoa.
Yes.
It's farmers who grow cocoa, right? And then by law, we set up a regulator called COCOBOD. And we say, regulate the cocoa sector. Then they go and sit and say, oh, we have to be able to make some money off the cocoa farmer.
Right.
So they come up with their arrangements. The cocoa you have grown as a farmer, because you can't go and sell it on the international market on yourself. On your own. We, the COCOBOD, that want to sell it on your behalf, we are saying that when you finish your cocoa, we will only give you 70% of the price, and we will take COCOBOD to keep the rest. The rest that we are keeping, we are using it maybe to buy juice sacks to package the cocoa, transportation from your community to the port. The companies that are coming to buy it from you, their fees are all part of that. And then we will also promise you either we are doing a free cocoa fertilizer and free chemicals, or we are doing a subsidized fertilizer. Then they came up with their own schemes of what they think as COCOBOD they want to do for cocoa farmer. And because of the things they think they will go to do for the cocoa farmer, they have decided to keep at the minimum they take each year is 30% from the farmer. So the farmer produces his cocoa, and then the COCOBOD by law just take 30% of the money. So if you have been shortchanging the farmer 30% minimum every year, why is it that if there is a year that the price has gone, that you want the cocoa farmer to suffer? Why is the 30%? What do you use the money for? Because you don't grow the cocoa, you are just a regulator. So on what basis you have been skipping 30% or more of the cocoa farmers' money for all these years, more than 100 years? You have been keeping the money to yourself. So you are saying that every year when you keep you chop all the money. You don't have any savings, no risk mitigation for the farmer.
Run our operations.
Which operations?
Operations of COCOBOD, like you mentioned.
This is why it's a rip-off. Every cross produces 2 or 3 times what we produce. Their total staff of their cocoa regulator is not up to 3,000. Ghana's COCOBOD has 10,200 workers. Senior staff alone, we are told, are 5,000. Please, are they managing the whole Ghana? A president, when a president comes, how many people does the president appoint? That one institution regulating one sector has over 10,000 workers. And over 5,000 are senior staff, because you have found free cocoa farmers their money, and you are feeding on it free.
And now they slash their salaries.
Did they tell you how much they are earning? If they should tell you how much they earn, so that when they tell us, we know how much they are giving out. So you see, COCOBOD has been taking cocoa farmers their money for over 100 years. So under no circumstances, and as I said, until 2024 ends and NDC decided they are going to do spot sale, which are yet to actually explain, the risk mitigation factor in the pricing using forward sales means that under no circumstances should the farmer get less.
Very well.
But now we are shortening the farmer, and then we are saying that the farmer shouldn't complain. Please, let's understand that I am not a cocoa farmer. I always say it. When did the EP happen? I told people it's a painful experience. But me, I didn't feel the pain because I didn't hold any bond. I'm not a cocoa farmer, so I will weep for them. But the real pain in terms of their personal economy, I can't feel it because I don't have a cocoa bags to sell.
Right.
Somebody has 100 bags of cocoa. You have promised him that you are going to give him 3,600. Okay, times 100 is what? 360,000. Yeah. That's what the person expects. Now you come and say, no, I can't pay 3,600, so now I'm going to 2,500. You have shortchanged the cocoa farmer that has 100 bags by over 100,000 Ghana cedis.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, this person has been growing cocoa for the past 20 years or 30 years, and you have been keeping 30% of his money each year. So all the 30% of his money that COCOBOD has been keeping, COCOBOD wants us to believe that there's no money. Because they've turned the place into a contract awarding institution for political financiers, as he rightly said.
Procurement machine.
Procurement machine. That somebody wants to do procurement and make money. So because his government is leaving office, he has to actually buy the juice ahead of time, make his profit, and his government goes. And then when the government that comes, at least he has made some profit.
And that's where the big problem is.
That is the problem. So see, all the problem, look, nobody should deceive anybody. There's nothing that has changed at COCOBOD from what the problem Randy and co are telling us. In 2017, when MPP took office, they listed same problems from cocoa roast to 1.8 billion taken and 60% of the cocoa purchased. The money is finished. Even after NDC lost election 26 December, they went to withdraw remaining $300 million in the COCOBOD account to pay contractors so that they know that MPP can come and find money and pay. There is nothing that is being talked about today. NDC left huge debt at COCOBOD. There's nothing that Randy is complaining about today or COCOBOD is complaining that was not there before MPP took office.
But the debt has been tripled in a short period. It was not created by the Mahama government in 2015. This is how we have managed COCOBOD. It's an institution where people have seen that they just have to use it to make money. Contracts to buy chemicals, contracts to buy fertilizers, contracts to buy solar lamps, contracts to buy cocoa sack, contracts to rehabilitate farm, contracts to do it. That is all that COCOBOD has become. The actual work that you are supposed to be doing as a regulator, they actually pay little attention to that. Their focus is contracts. People want to take contracts and make money because there's a huge amount of cocoa farmers' money that is lodged at COCOBOD. COCOBOD doesn't produce cocoa. Why is it keeping cocoa farmers their money? You are a regulator to make sure that the sector is properly regulated. And then, look, we have to be very careful. And land on this one.
The position is being advised to take. It should be very careful, because see, if the NDC is not careful, cocoa alone may send them to opposition. Do you know why? There are 1 million people who are directly involved in cocoa farming.
True.
And those who rely on cocoa for a living are more than 3 million. With the current situation where the world buyers now know that Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire have a lot of cocoa in there. There is a slump. What will happen is that they will make sure that they bring down the price. So in the next 1 or 2 cocoa seasons,
the prices may drop.
It's not going to be likely that cocoa price is going to go up. So if you are going to apply spot sales, what you are directly telling the cocoa farmer is that for the next 1 or 2 years, they should be ready for massive slash in what they get from their produce. And I think that will cause serious problems for the cocoa farmers, and it will cause serious problems for the NDC.
True.
They can do spot sale, but my advice to them will be that for now, they should revert to forward sales, give the farmers some guarantee sales, and then when the slump is dealt with, and now we know that the market has become a bit stable, and we are sure that prices can now be going up small, then they can decide to apply forward sales, which the spot sale, which will now benefit both the government and the farmer. But in an era where it is clear, it is clear that cocoa prices are likely to go down more, and you are adopting spot sales, you are going to make the farmer poorer, and the farmer will be angry with you. And you yourself, by the time you realize that the farmer is angry with you, it may be too late for them. It's a free consultancy advice for them.
Very well. Thank you.